Hello everybody! If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 566, Autumn Blossoms, Intermediate. Michael, a retired widower in his late 60s, had spent the past few years adjusting to life on his own. After his beloved wife, Anne, passed away, he found solace in the simple pleasures of his daily routine. Sipping tea in the garden, tending to his prized roses, and taking long walks through the park near his home. One crisp autumn morning, as Michael strolled through the vibrant, leaf-strewn paths, he noticed a woman seated on a bench, gazing wistfully at the swirling colours around her. There was a quiet grace about her, and Michael found himself drawn to her serene presence. Mustering his courage, he approached her and introduced himself. The woman, whose name was Elizabeth, was also a widow in her 60s. She had recently moved to the area to be closer to her children and grandchildren, and she too was finding solace in the beauty of the changing seasons. The two struck up a conversation, and Michael was captivated by Elizabeth's warm smile and her thoughtful insights about life. Over the following weeks, Michael and Elizabeth began to see each other more frequently. They would meet for coffee or take leisurely strolls through the park, talking about their pasts, their families, and their dreams for the future. Slowly, a deep bond began to form between them, and they both felt a sense of connection that they hadn't experienced in a long time. As the weeks turned into months, their relationship blossomed. They discovered shared interests, such as love of classical music and a passion for gardening. They would spend hours tending to Michael's rose garden, their fingers intertwined as they pruned the delicate blooms. In the evenings, they would curl up on the porch, sipping tea and watching the sunset, content in each other's company. For both Michael and Elizabeth, this newfound love was both unexpected and deeply cherished. They had both thought that their chance for happiness had passed, but now, in the autumn of their lives, they had found a second chance at love. As the relationship deepened, they began to talk about the future. They spoke of perhaps selling their respective homes and finding a new place to live together, a cozy cottage where they could grow old side by side. The prospect of this shared future filled them both with a sense of joy and excitement. One crisp autumn day, as they strolled through the park, Michael gathered his courage and asked Elizabeth to be his wife. With tears in her eyes, she said yes, and they embraced, their hearts overflowing with love and gratitude. In the months that followed, they planned their wedding, a simple and intimate affair surrounded by their closest family and friends. As they exchanged vows, their eyes shone with happiness, and they knew that they had found a love that would last a lifetime. And so, in the golden glow of autumn, Michael and Elizabeth embarked on a new chapter of their lives, their hearts and souls forever entwined. Vocabulary notes. Solace, noun. Example: after his beloved wife, Anne, passed away, he found solace in the simple pleasures of his daily routine. Similar words: comfort, consolation, relief. Wistfully, adverb. Example: he noticed a woman seated on a bench, gazing wistfully at the swirling colours around her. Similar words: longingly, pensively, dreamily. Captivated, verb. Example: Michael was captivated by Elizabeth's warm smile and her thoughtful insights about life. Similar words: entranced, enthralled, enchanted. Blossomed, verb. Example: as the weeks turned into months, their relationship blossomed. Similar words: flourished, thrived, grew. Cherished, adjective. Example: this newfound love was both unexpected and deeply cherished. Similar words: treasured, valued, esteemed. Cozy, adjective. Example: they spoke of perhaps selling their respective homes and finding a new place to live in together, a cozy cottage where they could grow old side by side. Similar words: snug, comfortable, intimate. Embarked, verb. Example: and so, in the golden glow of autumn, Michael and Elizabeth embarked on a new chapter of their lives. Similar words: began, started, commenced. Story written by Claude 3 Haiku, Anthropic AI. Image created by DALL-E 3 AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really simple but beautiful little story called Autumn Blossoms. And we're not just going to read it, we're going to take it apart, look under the hood a bit to see what makes it work so well. It's amazing how a simple story can teach us so much about life, love, and those new beginnings you never see coming. So, let's get right into it.
This one line right here, this is pretty much the entire story in a nutshell. It's the theme, it's the emotional core, it's the destination, all rolled into one. This is the big idea we're going to unpack today. This idea that you can find something absolutely wonderful, even when you think that particular season of your life is long gone.
So, here's our game plan. First, we'll see how the story sets the scene. Then, we'll watch how that first little spark of connection starts to grow. After that, we'll get to the promise of a future together. And finally, we'll talk about the story's big takeaway, what I like to call its golden glow.
All right, so every good story has to start somewhere, right? It needs a solid foundation. This is what writers call the exposition. It's where we meet the key players, we get a feel for their world, and we understand what they're struggling with before things really get moving. So let's meet our two people. We've got Michael, a widower who finds his comfort in a very predictable daily routine. And then there's Elizabeth, a widow who finds her comfort in watching the seasons change. You see the parallels already, right? Both in their 60s, both have lost their spouse, and both are looking for some kind of quiet peace. This common ground is absolutely crucial for what's about to happen.
Okay, so to really get inside Michael's world, the story gives us this one perfect word: solace. And that word choice is so specific and so important. He's not out there looking for happiness or a thrill. He's finding a quiet comfort, a gentle break from his sadness inside the safety of his everyday life. And that distinction is so key. Solace isn't really happiness, not yet anyway. It's that quiet place of healing, of just trying to find your footing again after a big storm. This is Michael's starting point. He's a man who's using routine as a shield, not quite ready to reach for more. Now, let's flip over to Elizabeth. The word this story picks for her is wistfully, and that just immediately gives her so much emotional depth. She's not just, watching the leaves. She's looking at them with this kind of quiet, sad longing, maybe for a past she misses, or maybe for a future she's not sure she'll ever have. So you see what's happening? You've got Michael, who's seeking comfort from his past, and Elizabeth, who's sort of regretfully longing for something more. They are two lonely people in the exact same season of life, and they're perfectly set up to find each other. Okay, so the stage is set. We've met our characters, now we get to the fun part. the rising action. This is where that little spark we saw at the beginning starts to catch fire and grow into something real. Right from their very first talk, Michael is captivated. And wow, that word is so much more powerful than just saying he was interested. It means he's totally charmed, that his attention is completely and utterly held by her. For a man who's been living in a quiet little routine, this is a massive shift. Think about that for a second. To attract and hold. Her presence doesn't just float by, it grabs his focus and doesn't let go. It's the first time since he lost his wife that something outside of his controlled world has really enchanted him. This is his first real step out. And what's great is that the story is careful to show us that this isn't some whirlwind romance that happens in a weekend. Look at the pacing here. It feels real, it feels gentle. It all starts with one conversation. That turns into regular coffees. And then, over months, it deepens into this shared passion for gardening. It's this believable, steady progression that makes the emotional payoff feel so real and so earned. And this right here leads us to the central metaphor of the whole story. Their relationship blossomed. That one single verb connects everything: the autumn setting, their shared love for gardening, and the beautiful, surprising nature of their connection. It's perfect. To flourish, to develop in a healthy way. I mean, this is the story's most hopeful idea. It's telling us that even in the autumn of life, something new and vibrant and beautiful can grow. It's just this powerful image of a second spring.
So that connection has officially blossomed. And now we've arrived at the story's emotional peak, the big moment of decision and the really happy resolution that comes right after. As their bond gets stronger, the story tells us that this new love is cherished. This one word tells us everything about how much they value what they've found. They don't take it for granted at all, precisely because it was so unexpected. They're treating it like a fragile, precious treasure to protect and care for lovingly. That's the core of it, right? It's not just a feeling they have, it's an active choice they're making. They are deliberately nurturing this connection, protecting it because they both get how rare and valuable a second chance like this really is. So, what does this cherished future actually look like in their minds? A cozy cottage. And notice, the word isn't big or fancy. It's cozy. That word immediately paints this picture of warmth and safety and comfort and just shared intimacy. So this cottage isn't just a building. It's the actual shape of their future. It represents the life they want to build together, a space that's all about the same comfort and warmth and intimacy that they finally found in each other. And so, filled with this shared dream, with everything that's been building between them, we finally reach the climax of the story. The moment is so beautifully simple. He just asks her to be his wife, and the resolution is just as pure, just as simple. With tears in her eyes, she says yes. It's the perfect ending. It's Esley's quiet moment, from that first glance on the park bench to their time in the garden, all of it blossoming into a promise for all the days still to come. So that's the story arc. But what's the big takeaway here? Let's zoom out one last time and really look at the central message this beautifully told story leaves us with. What's its golden glow? When you really boil it all down, the story leaves us with 3 simple but pretty profound lessons. First, just be open to connections you don't see coming. Second, learn to cherish the simple, everyday moments, the coffee, the walk, because that's where life is actually lived. And finally, and this is the big one, it is never, ever too late for a new beginning. The autumn of your life can absolutely be a season of incredible, surprising growth. And that really is the power of a story like this. It doesn't just entertain us, it gives us this beautiful metaphor we can use to look at our own lives. So, I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What might an autumn blossom look like for you? And hey, it doesn't have to be a romance. It could be a new friendship, rediscovering an old passion, finding a sudden joy where you didn't expect one. What new beginning might be waiting to blossom in your world?